A 30-year-old single woman gets pissed off after being rejected for another woman.
This is exactly what's happening at bars and clubs because men are no longer falling for it. They are no longer just throwing their money out at women that do not take them seriously. They are no longer willing to waste their time, effort, and resources. But because of this, women are out here trying to give men a bad rap. Like they're saying, what's wrong with men these days? They used to go to war. Now they just want to be treated like a woman at a bar. But that is just not the case because men will absolutely put in just as much effort as they always have into pursuing you. But it takes one thing, and that one thing is that he has to know that you are taking him seriously. Because one of the number one resources to a man is his time, and he doesn't want you to waste it. And even if it's a short-term thing, like he just doesn't want to leave that relationship and have a messed up head and a messed up heart. Because that man just wants a future with somebody that he can really fall in love with and grow old with. Which is why he already knows with like 95% certainty that him paying for your drink at the bar is not going to bring him closer to that.
I thought they get dressed up and go to the bar for themselves, not to get approached. Some men operate under the assumption that pretty girls want to be left alone. They don't want to be approached for the good reasons. They're there to humiliate those who do and get an ego boost out of it.
I have just started to wonder, when do you realistically stop thinking that you're going to find someone? I just turned 30 and I am super active on dating apps, and I was talking to this guy all week. Really lovely person. We have so much in common. We were talking till 10:30, 11 p.m. some nights. I really got to know him, and then I just thought, whatever, I'll ask him on a date. And the response I got from him was that it was many hours after I'd sent it. He said back that, sorry for the delay, he was actually on a first date with someone and it went really well. He wants to pursue that. And that's fair. I suppose I appreciate the heads up, but just to get to know someone and to click with someone, and for it to happen over and over again, and just to never be the one that's chosen. At some point I just kind of wonder, is this just not meant for me? Am I just not meant to be with someone? And there's a real sadness that hits now because I know I don't have forever, but maybe it's just not my journey. I don't know. I want to hope. I keep hoping. All of my friends say, why do you keep doing it? And I'm like, I don't give myself a choice. You only get out what you put in, and I'm putting out a lot but not getting anything back. I don't want to be alone. I have so much love for me. I don't know where I go wrong every time, but if I give up, then I'm just setting myself back even further. I just don't give myself that option. I don't know. It just sucks because it hurts right now, because I thought I was getting on with someone and they found someone else when they didn't even really know me. So I suppose why let that bother me, but I mean, it doesn't suck to not feel chosen every time.
Let's talk about what actually happened here and where she went wrong, while also being fair about the situation. First, let's acknowledge the reality. Rejection hurts. She put herself out there, made a move, and got turned down. That takes courage, and the disappointment is understandable. Nobody enjoys being told someone chose someone else over them. That part is genuinely difficult, and her feelings are valid. But here's where accountability comes in. She waited weeks. They were talking for weeks, late-night conversations, building connection, and she never made her intentions clear. She never asked him out. She never expressed romantic interest. She just talked to him, probably hoping he'd make the first move, probably assuming that consistent communication meant he was exclusively focused on her. That was her first mistake. In modern dating, if you're interested in someone, you need to move quickly and clearly. Weeks of conversation without escalation signals friendship or casual chat, not romantic pursuit. While she was comfortable in the talking stage, enjoying the attention and connection without risk, someone else came along, made her interests clear, went on an actual date with him, and created a real romantic opportunity. That person took action. She didn't. Second mistake, she assumed exclusivity without establishing it. Just because you're talking to someone regularly doesn't mean they're not talking to or dating other people. If you want someone's focus, you need to either move fast enough to capture it or explicitly establish that you're pursuing something exclusive. She did neither. She was content to have late-night conversations without pushing for progression, and now she's upset that he progressed with someone else who actually took initiative. Here's the hard truth. She got rejected because someone else offered him something better, an actual date, real-world connection, and clear romantic interest. She offered weeks of text conversations and late-night talks that went nowhere. From his perspective, she was someone pleasant to talk to, but not someone actively pursuing him or demonstrating that she wanted more than conversation. When someone who did want more showed up, the choice was easy. This is what happens when you wait too long. This is what happens when you don't clearly communicate interest. This is what happens when you mistake comfort and routine for commitment or priority. She treated him like a texting buddy and expected him to treat her like a romantic prospect. That disconnect cost her the opportunity. Now, to be fair to her, he could have been more direct about seeing other people or about where things stood between them, but he doesn't owe her that transparency if they never defined what they were doing. They were just talking. He was free to date other people, and he did. She was free to ask him out weeks ago, and she didn't. The lesson here isn't men are trash or dating is unfair. The lesson is if you want something, go after it clearly and quickly. Don't sit in the comfort zone of endless conversation, hoping the other person will read your mind and make all the moves. Don't assume that talking to someone means they're exclusively focused on you. And don't wait so long that someone else beats you to it. She's 30 years old. She should understand by now that passive interest doesn't win. Action wins. Clarity wins. Speed wins. Someone else took action while she was comfortable in the talking stage, and now she's making sad TikToks instead of going on dates with him. That's not bad luck. That's the consequence of hesitation. Next time, if she's interested, she needs to make a move within days, not weeks. Express interest clearly. Ask for the date early. Create momentum. Because while she's waiting and hoping, someone else is doing, and they're the ones who get chosen.
Women don't like nice guys. I work with women all day and I hear them complaining about toxic men. And then when a guy is nice to them, they just always talk about how he's just too thirsty. How is he too thirsty? Because he's into you. And then you want to complain about the men that are talking to multiple other women and are emotionally unavailable and don't give you time of the day.
Bigger question is, why are girls like this? Where does it come from? Women find nice guys boring and too predictable. They're not exciting or dangerous. Girls want mystery, fun, and a guy on the wild side till they get older. Then they want the stable, nice guys to marry and have kids with. By then, those guys are already taken or dating younger girls. Or they're just fed up with being rejected and leave the dating scene. They mistake kindness for weakness until they're 30-something single mom of 2.
Last night I went on a date, and honestly, like, this date has to be documented. It needs to be shared. I am in shock. So this guy had sent me a DM, and honestly, like, he's not my type. Like, there's nothing wrong with him, like, honestly, but he's just not my type. He's a very typical valley man, not to be stereotypical, but like, you know, you look at him and you're like, oh, like, he just looks like, you know, a typical valley guy, but just not my type. But he was being very persistent. He wanted to take me out somewhere, and I kept blowing him off. I would be like, oh, sorry, like, I'm busy. And then, like, sometimes I would just, like, leave him undelivered, and he would still message me, and I'm like, oh my god. Anyway, so a couple days ago, like, I was doing something on my phone, and I got a notification from him, and I accidentally clicked on him, like, dang it. And he was just, like, asking me to, you know, go out with him, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I feel really bad. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And there was one green flag about this guy. Like, I will say, he was being persistent, but when I agreed to go out with him, he was like, okay, like, do you want to go eat somewhere, like, casual? I'm like, yeah, I want something casual. He's like, okay, perfect, meet me at this place, this time. Okay. And I was like, no. Okay, so I show up to, like, this taqueria that he had told me to meet him at, and he was, like, a minute late. I wouldn't even say a minute, like, seconds late. Like, he got there, like, a few seconds after me. So I got off my car, and then I go inside, and I'm, like, waiting in the front to get a table. And then
I turned around and he was coming towards me, and I was like, oh my God, like that's you? He looks so different in picture, and it just shows me that men do not know how to take pictures. He looked completely different. Honestly, he looked more approachable in person than in photos. And another thing, this man was freaking tall. Like, I want to say, I think he was like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". Like, okay, there was one red flag that I was like, ugh. Okay, so we get our menus, and he was like, oh, I'm just gonna order the drink. And I'm like, what, you're not gonna order food? He's like, no, I just ate with my family. I'm like, bro, what? Then why am I here? Like, I literally skipped my lunch because I was gonna eat with you. He's like, no, you order. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not gonna order when you're not ordering. Like, that's so weird. I'm not just gonna eat. He's like, okay, then why don't we get an appetizer and we can share it? And I'm like, okay, fine. So we did that. So we both ordered drinks and we got an appetizer. And then I had ordered a Cosmo, and at this place, they served my Cosmo with the cherry on top. So when it arrived, he asked me, like, are you going to eat that cherry? I'm like, no, you can have it. So he eats the cherry, and then he removes the stem from the cherry, and he's like, I'm going to twist the knot with my tongue, and if I get it, you owe me a second date. And I'm like, okay, do it. So he does it, and he's like, give me your hand. So I was like, here. He literally spits on my hand, like he spits out the stem. And it, like, he made the knot. He's like, you owe me another date. And I'm like, bro, where did the taqueria? And he asked me what high school I graduated from. And he was like, oh, damn, like, I know a lot of people from the high school. I'm like, who do you know? And he goes down the list. I'm like, oh, no. Like, how do you know these people? Like, I was like, damn, I really hope they don't find out that I went out with you, because, damn. That's where we kind of started our conversation. And honestly, I'm so glad we had, like, I guess, people in common, because we had something to talk about. And like the conversation from there just like was an easy flow. And he like started talking to me about like his career, like what he does for a living and things like. Anyways, then I asked him a very important question for me. I asked him, are you a drinker? Do you drink alcohol? And he was like, yeah, I do drink alcohol. I'm like, okay, how much and how often do you drink alcohol? And he said, drink a decent amount, and I only drink like once a week. And I'm like, okay. He's like, why is that a problem for you? And I'm like, not that a problem, but I just don't like messy drinkers. And he was like, nah, like, I'm not really a messy drinker. Like, I have like a few bottles hidden in my room, and I drink from that. I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, you know, like my last girlfriend, yeah, like she didn't like that I was doing that and that I was drinking. And it's like, dude, like I work all week long. I work long shifts. Like, dude, just let me enjoy a drink. And excuse my language, but he literally told me, like, and she was just pissing me off when she would always tell me something about my drink. And she was just so annoying. The only times it was peaceful with her was when she would shut the fuck up. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm sorry, this girl cares about your health and your well-being, and that's your moments of peace with her when she would shut up. That is a big red flag. I was honestly in shock. Like, I cannot believe those words just came out of his mouth. And he was also telling me, like, I just don't like it when girls tell me what to do. Like, they need to respect that I have my own life. And then he told me, like, for example, if we both ever become a thing, you know, just him living in his Delulu world, like, I like that you own your own business, you have your own things, because I have my own things going on. And, you know, I like that we both do different things and just live our own lives. And I'm like, okay, but like, what does that have to do with like this poor girl just being concerned about your health and your well-being? Like, okay, so yeah, like the night was already ending, and I had asked him, so like, what are your intentions with me? Like, are you looking for something serious? Because you're the one who asked me on a date. And he's like, honestly, like, you're such a cool girl. I like that you own your own business. You have your life put together. Like, you have a lot going on for yourself. And I honestly haven't really met a girl like that. And what he had mentioned something else. Oh, and he, you know, he was like, and you're such a pretty girl. Like, I would be down to like continue getting to know you. And like, you know, maybe see something potentially happening here. And he's like, but if you're down for a hookup, I'm also down for that. What? What? I just met you. Like, what? Why would those? So glad when he said that the check came, he paid, and then we left. And then he was like, I'm gonna walk you to your car. So he walks me to my car, and in the parking, it was a very small parking lot. So next to my car was another car, and it was just both of our cars. So he was walking me to the other car, and I'm like, no, like that's this is my car. And he was like, oh, this is your car? He was like, oh damn. Then he opens the door for me, which I thought was like, oh damn, like, okay, gentleman. And then he opens my car, and he sees the inside. He's like, damn, like even the inside of your car is really nice. And I'm like, oh, like thank you. And he's like, well, I drive a Silverado. Okay, and good for you. Honestly, this day, like, what? Like, no, this is why I just don't really hang out with these type of guys, and this is why they're not my typical type of men to date. But like, I'm just so disappointed in like the women who agree to like have some any sort of interaction with these type of men. Like at this point, like we already know these men have no self-respect, but the fact that women are validating them and like hooking up with them, it just makes me so sad for like the value culture. Like women, like we can do better. Like why are we like boosting these men's egos? Like no, like no.
Here's the thing. Listening to her talk, it sounds like he absolutely dodged a bullet. Let's recap what this man actually did. He invited her out. He was respectful. He opened doors for her. He tried to make the date fun and engaging. He paid for her meal. He was straightforward and honest about his intentions. And despite doing everything traditionally right, she still ran straight to her TikTok page to bash him publicly. He dodged a nuclear missile with this one. Think about what just happened here. This man displayed all the qualities women claim they want: initiative, chivalry, generosity, clear communication, effort. He did his part. He invested time, money, and energy into giving her a quality experience. And her response? Public humiliation and complaints on social media. This is exactly why good men are walking away from dating. You can do everything right. Be the gentleman, pay for everything, show respect, be direct, and still get dragged online because she didn't feel some indefinable spark or because one tiny thing didn't meet her impossible standards. No good deed goes unpunished in modern dating. What's the lesson for men here? There isn't one, because there's no winning. If he hadn't opened doors, she'd complain he wasn't chivalrous. If he hadn't paid, she'd call him cheap. If he hadn't been straightforward, she'd say he was playing games. He did all of it correctly, and she still found a way to make him the villain in her TikTok story. This woman is a walking red flag factory, and he's lucky he found out after one date instead of 6 months in. Imagine being in a relationship with someone whose first instinct after any disappointment is to run to social media and publicly trash you. Imagine the drama, the constant need for validation, the inability to handle conflict privately like an adult. Imagine every disagreement becoming content for her followers. He didn't just dodge a bullet, he dodged a lifetime of exhausting public relationship drama with someone who views every interaction as material for her victim narrative. And here's what makes this even worse. She has no self-awareness about what she's revealing. She thinks she's exposing him or getting sympathy. What she's actually doing is advertising to every man who sees that video, "I am impossible to please, I will publicly humiliate you even when you do everything right, and I lack the maturity to handle dating like an adult." She's doing men a massive favor by showing exactly who she is up front. The man who rejected her for someone else made the right call. The guy who took her on this date and then presumably never called again made the right call. Any man who sees this video and decides to avoid her is making the right call. She's not relationship material. She's a walking lawsuit, a PR nightmare, and a constant source of chaos. Women like this wonder why they can't find good men. Good men are out there. They're just smart enough to recognize women like her and run in the opposite direction before getting trapped. He dodged a bullet. She'll be making "Why am I still single at 35" videos in a few years, completely oblivious to the fact that she's been the problem the entire time.
Maybe I'm naive, but I had a guy friend come down from interstate yesterday and we went out for drinks and we were out for a couple of hours. Then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to head home now. And I was like, see, it was really lovely to see you. And he looks at me and he goes, am I staying with you? Quite like sheepishly. And I was like, no. And he's like, can I stay with you? And I was like, no. And then it dawned on me, he didn't just want to catch up with me. He thought we were, yeah.
No such thing as guy friends. If you gave them a chance, they will always take it. No guy is traveling to another state to catch up for drinks with a girl.
I'm 36, I'm single, and unfortunately I'm attracted to men. Dating has been terrible. Most men, I tell them exactly what I need and what I'm wanting from them. Most of it is just better communication. That's literally it. Like, the bar is so low, and men can't even do that. It's like I'm holding the door open for them, and I'm like, hey, like, this is exactly what I need and what I'm wanting from you. And they just stand there, like, staring at the door. It's so tiring, and it's so exhausting. Like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm like, why is this so hard for you? I literally told you what I wanted and what I'm needing. I, like, wrote it out, and you can't even comprehend that. So that's where I'm at. I do have a date next weekend with a guy who has great communication. He's 37. Also, age does not matter. I've dated 40-year-olds who, dude, they're just dumb. So I'm hoping, no, I have a feeling this guy is going to be great. I just hope that we have the connection that I need and want, and that he needs and wants. But like, the last two guys I've dated, I've literally been like, this is what I need. This is what I'm wanting. Like, you need better communication. And also, I'm so blunt these days, like, straightforward. Like, they're like beating around the bush, and I'm like, oh, so you're canceling our date? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I would like for you to take the initiative to plan another date. Like, why don't you do that? Like, it's fine if you need to cancel, but just plan the next date. And then they don't. And then they ignore that text, and they're like, oh, you got a new tattoo? I want to see. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about my tattoo. What I care about is you planning the next date. And then you don't, so now I'm not going to talk to you. Now I'm going to ghost you. Sorry, not sorry.
Welcome to the experience men have when they were too young for you in your prime. Now you're too old for men. Common denominator? What are they seeing that you're not going to say? This is usually a two-way street. Instead of describing what you need from them, try articulating what you can provide. Think of it like an interview rather than a shopping trip. If you think it's bad having to state all your requests, you should try being the guy that has to listen to all that noise. We don't want to jump through your hoops with nothing to gain.
Let me tell you about my date last night. This is date 6 of 12. He originally picked a place that was in his neighborhood. This place has multiple locations. I said, can we go to this location instead? He said, sure, no problem. I'll be there closer to 8. I say, okay, no problem. Interpret that as the date's gonna start at 8. I text him like 30 minutes before 8 o'clock to be like, hey, I'm gonna head out soon. He doesn't respond. I text him at 7:58 and I say, hey, I'm here. He doesn't respond. He shows up 10 minutes late. Not so much that he showed up 10 minutes late, it's the lack of communication. At no point did he text me saying, my bad, running 10 minutes late. At no point did he text me saying, about to be there. Nothing. He shows up, he doesn't apologize for being late. He just says, hey, nice to see you. Gives me a hug. I give him a hug. I'd been there now for 10 minutes scoping it out. This place that he picked, this restaurant, and don't start with me and saying that I was the one who picked it. He picked this restaurant. I just asked if we could do this location of this restaurant. It's the same shit. Whether we go to his location or my location, the restaurant remains the hot and happening place that it is. In all locations of this place, it gets busy. I'm sorry for yelling. You don't deserve to be yelled at. The problem is that those videos have now hit. One's over 1 million views, some are like at 500,000, and so I'm getting all these crazy people on the internet leaving me comments. Okay, let me focus. So he gets there late, doesn't say sorry that he's late. I've been there for now 12 minutes waiting, so I can see that not only is the restaurant packed, but that there is a line snaking outside of the establishment. It looks like it's gonna take some time. And at this point, I don't know if he made a reservation. So when he sees how packed the restaurant is, he looks at it and he goes, oh man, this place is packed. And I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, let me go see how long the wait is. Okay, so he didn't make a reservation. I go and I wait in line. He goes to the front, sees how long the wait is, comes back out, and he goes, they think it's gonna be about an hour. I said, okay. And he goes, what should we do? And I'm like, I don't know. And he goes, like, should we just go do something else? And I'm like, yeah, we can. Like, I don't really hang around in this area, so I don't really know what's around here. Obviously, both of us have phones, okay? It's just both of us can take our phone out and start looking at places, but I am not going to start planning and making accommodations for you 2 seconds into knowing you. You picked a restaurant that had a wait. You didn't think to try to make a reservation. You didn't make a reservation. Now we're stuck here with an hour wait. I want to see your problem solving skills in play. He goes, let's just walk around and see what we can find. I say, this isn't really an area where you like walk around and look for something. It's not like a strip of places. We're kind of like, I don't think we should do that. He goes, no, let's just walk this way. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I mean, do you have any better ideas? And I said, we can walk in that direction. I don't really, and as I'm speaking, he goes, I mean, I have high expectations for you. And I said, sorry, what do you mean? And he goes, I mean, aren't you an attorney? And I said, yes. And he goes, okay, so you should be able to problem solve. And I said, I should be able to problem solve? No, you should be able to problem solve. And he goes, okay, let's just go this way. Let's just go this way. So we start walking. Now, I literally, in that moment, was about to just be like, I'm gonna go home. But I am like, it's literally, I've been on this date for 3 minutes. Let me have a little more patience. I'm sort of familiar with the area, so I'm like racking my brain trying to think of what I know, but I'm like, there's really nothing. Like, there's no, like, I mean, there's like businesses, but there's not places really to go to like at night like that in the area. He's also walking in front of me, and that's really starting to make me twitch because I just find that to be so disrespectful. At one point he goes, so how was your day? And I said, oh, it was good. How was yours? He's like, it was good. I got to leave work early today. I said, oh, what time do you do your normal hours? He's like, I usually get to leave at 5. I said, oh yeah, same. And he goes, same. How can you know it's the same when I haven't even told you what time I usually start? I go, do you usually start at 9? He goes, yeah. And I say, okay. He tells me that he went to like some show, like some comedy show at some theater on Sunday. And he's like trying to name it, but he can't remember it. And I go, oh, like what area was it? And he was like, it was in LA? Like that. And I go, yeah, what neighborhood of LA? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Okay. Now we're standing at the corner of an intersection and we could either go this way, or this way. And I'm telling him, if we go to these two places, there's really not going to be anything that we're going to find. And it's like not the best area to be walking around like that. I don't know if you saw the video of me in the Waymo, but there was a woman who was throwing stuff at my Waymo, screaming at my Waymo. It's just not a cute romantic place to be walking around on a first date. Let's just go back to the restaurant. And I'm like, to wait for an hour? And he goes, no, I mean, we've killed what, like 10 minutes at this point? Now it'll just be 50 minutes. I said, did you write our name down somewhere? And he goes, no. And I said, okay, so no, if we get back to the restaurant, we're gonna have to wait the full hour. He goes, no, we'll just get back in line where we were. I said, no, I don't think we can do that. He goes, no, they'll remember us. I said, that's not the point. I don't think that we can leave and then just come back. You think we're the only assholes that don't want to wait in line for an hour? Ooh, this looks good. Hold on. I go, no, we're not gonna go back there. He goes, okay, so if you don't hang out in this area, like where do you usually hang out? And I start naming places. He goes, oh, like, and then he names his neighborhood. He goes, oh, you mean like, let's say that he lived in, I don't know, let's say he lives in Hollywood. I'm naming places that I usually go out in, and he goes, oh, okay, so you mean like Hollywood? And I'm like, no. And he was like, well, the places that you're naming are close to Hollywood. And I'm like, okay. He's like, look, all I'm saying is I just drove 40 minutes to get here, and I was getting all these notifications because there's a storm in Los Angeles, so I risked a lot to be here. And I said, okay, I just think that maybe you can figure out a place. And I go, actually, there's a bar up there. Do you want to walk to that bar? Do you drink? And he goes, no. And I go, okay. And he goes, but let's just go to the bar. And I'm like, okay, so you don't really hang out in this area? And I say, no, I don't really. And this area is predominantly one race. And he goes, I mean, I can see why. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, first of all, it's dirty. And as he's saying that, we're literally walking through an encampment. As I kept telling him, this is really just not a place where you just wander around aimlessly. It's like, feels like I'm in a different place. I feel like I'm not even in LA anymore. Okay, well, that shows me that you're not from LA to make those comments. He goes, also, like, nobody here looks like you. And I said, sorry? And he goes, you know what I mean. No, I don't actually, because I want him to explain himself. And he goes, oh, forget it. Get to the bar, I see that it's closed. I get up there, I said, oh, it's closed. Yeah, well, I'm actually out of ideas now. He goes, okay, and he pulls out his phone and he zooms in on places. He points out a place that, in my opinion, is not a first date place at all. It's like fluorescent lighting. Its interior would be as if you were sitting at a Taco Bell. Okay? And that's fine. You know how much I love Taco Bell, but I already don't like this man and I don't need to be sitting at a Taco Bell with him. So it wasn't even that close of a walk. It would have made us have to walk like another 10 minutes. And he goes, let's go there. And I go, I don't want to go there. And he goes, well, where do you want to go then? And I say, I want to go home. And he is dumbfounded. No disrespect. I just want to go home. And he goes, okay, well, take care of yourself then. And then we both just start walking away from each other. The only place that was like open on that street was the bar, except the bar was closed. So there was no one else in that area except for an encampment. And 4 men were at the encampment. Walk through the encampment by myself. These 4 men are just looking at me. I am not feeling safe. Walk through it. I find a plaza. I go to the plaza. I order my car. And I go home. That was my date. There was nothing redeeming about him, and yet the comments on the videos that have gone viral / semi-viral are everyone in there saying, oh, it sounds like it was a product of circumstance. It sounds like he did his best. It sounds like you didn't want to be on that date either. It sounds like you were being kind of harsh. That was date 6 of 12. Part of me that's kind of just like, I'm done with men until 2026. There's another part of me, my Capricorn part, that's like, just finish it if you can. I feel really proud of myself for leaving that date as quickly as I did. Goodbye.
If he isn't from here, it may be unfair to expect him to automatically know all the social norms you're used to. Cultural differences can play a big role, and this is one of those moments where it helps to walk with grace and humility.